Right, hello. Today, I'm going to be talking about the Alton Towers Retro Squad rides. Now, this video might be a little bit late, but what? It's just because I'm lazy. But yeah, when Alton Towers opened this year for... forgot what year it was then. Did that come out of your book?
Yeah.
What the... For 2021, they opened with 3 new rides that they're calling the Retro Squad. So what Alton Towers have done is they've brought in 3 flat rides that have come straight from the fairground, but don't worry, it doesn't ruin the look of the towers or the gardens or anything because they've said it's retro. So that, yeah. Anyway, I actually think this is a pretty good idea, to be honest, because this year with all the social distancing things and restrictions, it means that they don't really have as much capacity on the rides at the park. So I think this is a good idea because you've got more rides, then there's more capacity for riders. So it just helps with queues a bit and stuff. And they're also able to market that they've got something new, I guess. But today I just want to talk about them because I've been on them all and because I've been on them all. So there's 2 things that all these rides have in common. The first is that they're running short cycles. Because they're at a theme park, not a fairground, there's lots of people that want to get on them, so the ride's not going to last that long just because then you can get more people on it. And the second thing is that they all share the same bloody playlist that is about 8 songs. And even if you think they're all right songs, it gets pretty annoying because I must have heard this playlist go through about 5 or 6 times. Anyway, so let's talk about the rides individually. Now, the first one that I'm going to get out of the way because it's probably the most boring one to talk about is roller disco. And the reason why it's probably the boringest one to talk about is because it's just a fairly standard waltzer, and no, they don't spin you on it. So this one is located just next to Rita, or just next to the entrance of 13, I guess. But you can also access it if you just keep walking down the footpath by the towers. So it's good because that's not actually closed this year. Anyway, it's a fairly standard waltzer and they don't have people going around pushing you because health and safety does exist. So although people don't push you, if you distribute the weight well or whatever, you can get spinning pretty fast and it can be fun. Now don't get me wrong, I have been on waltzers at fairgrounds where they've got actual people going around to push and spin you, and that is insane. Although this ride isn't that insane, it still can spin pretty fast and it is good fun. From my experience, there was quite a lot of families trying to go on it and that kind of thing, and it does make sense because at the end of the day, for that target market, it's not that scary. But it's good, it's alright. If there's not much of a queue for it, go for it. But at least when I was there, the queue did seem to be moving fairly slowly because they weren't very efficient in trying to get people with fast track onto the ride, and then obviously because they're getting on, people in the normal queue can't get on. So yeah, the queue might be a little bit longer than it looks, but generally, yeah, it's just alright. It's there, it's cool. Now the second ride I'm going to talk about is located in Forbidden Valley on the old site of Ripsaw, and that is Funk and Fly, which is a Super Trooper ride, whatever that is, which is basically where you've got these 3 seats dangling from above and it can swing side to side and forwards and backwards. So you go on that, the ride itself spins around and then starts to tilt. Off-ride, you think, okay, that looks not very exciting, yeah, but when you get on it, it does make you feel pretty sick. Now, that is coming from someone who's never really felt sick at all on any type of roller coaster or flat ride ever, but for some reason there's something about this ride and the way it moves that is really weird and really dizzying. So if you do find yourself getting a little bit sick on roller coasters or rides, yeah, maybe you should avoid it. It is funner than it looks though, but although it's kind of a bit forceful, you go to the side a bit, the main thing about this ride is it just feels weird. I don't know what it is about it, but it feels strange. Now, I've saved the best one till last, and that is Mixtape, which is just located next to Oblivion and Enterprise in X Sector. Now, this ride is a bit like those frog rides. I don't know what they're called. I hope you know what I mean. Anyway, each set of seats has its own arm, and the seats can rotate freely on the end of that arm. And while the ride spins around, the arm that the seats are on goes up and down and gives you airtime. It throws you out of your seat while you're sat on the end spinning. If you're lucky, like on the waltz run, you can kind of get good weight distribution between you and the person sat next to you. You can spin round pretty fast. And when on this ride, when you combine that with the airtime you get, it's fun. So the airtime itself is kind of floater to strong floater. The first part of the ride is just where the arms next to each other alternate going up and down, and it is a really fun feeling because the airtime you get kind of starts quite weak and you're barely floating out of your seat, and then you start to go down, and somehow just at the end of the airtime it just suddenly gets a bit stronger and kind of throws you out of your seat a bit before you land back in it at the bottom and go back up. Yeah, it's fun. And you're spinning. After that, there's a bit of a break, and then it starts to fling everyone up and down at the same time. This bit is slightly better than the first bit it does, and it's also very fun. It's quite a similar kind of thing though, and it's a similar feeling. I was very lucky when I went on this ride because we span round a lot compared to everyone else that we'd seen. But what was bad about this, and I don't want to be the guy complaining about operations and stuff, but it took a long time for us to get on this ride because when we got in the queue it didn't look that big, but we ended up waiting probably about 40 minutes for what's essentially a fairground ride. And I don't know what was taking them so long because I did time one of the dispatches and it took over 12 minutes between cycles, but there you go. Hopefully it's probably not like that most days. I think, I don't know, we just got unlucky, but these new rides are cool. Don't take away from this video that the rides have bad capacity because that could just be the day we went on. Take from this video that the rides are good, they're good fun, they're increasing capacity and they're increasing the number of rides people can get on while they're at the park. I think it's a good idea from Alton Towers. It's something new. It's possible they could maybe switch these rides up in the future with different ones if they want to continue doing this as a thing. I don't know, that's just a thought. Because before these rides, people were complaining that Alton Towers didn't have enough flat rides. So when they got more flat rides, people complained that it didn't fit in with the park. Even though when Alton Towers started off as a park, it was literally just a fairground next to the towers with similar kind of stuff. Okay, look, that's my take, an opinion on the new Retro Squad rides at Alton Towers for 2021. Yeah, just what YouTube stuff. Thanks.